This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some important update to share with you with the midterm election still not decided. Nancy Pelosi asked the question if she is going to pursue being the speaker again. I'll play the video clip of what she says there. When it comes to Social Security and it being cut, here's what Rick Scott said.
Now, this news that you wanted to eliminate Social Security, go through your agenda. What is most important to you, Senator Rick Scott?
So first off, I think we've got to save Social Security and save Medicare. And I explained, the Democrats have voted to to cut Medicare.
I'll play you that full video clip and whether or not Social Security is actually going to be cut. When it comes to stimulus, $700 stimulus checks are going out to certain Americans. There's also $200 to $1,000 checks going out as well. Gas prices are down. Diesel is way up, which could drive up the prices of living. And I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a more than mundane Monday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So inflation slowdown, not in some cities where consumer prices still top 12%. So inflation as high as 12% in certain places, because we have to remember the average across the country, more or less the average, is 7.7%. But it's different city by city. So for example, St. Louis, 7%, Seattle, 8.9%, San Francisco, 6%, Phoenix, a whopping 12.1% inflation rate, Philadelphia, 7.8%, Miami, 10.1%, Houston, 7.6%, Detroit, 8.5%, Baltimore, 8.4%, Atlanta, 10.7%, New York, 6%, and Los Angeles, 7.5%. If I announced any of your cities, I'm curious, what is it like there? Is it really expensive? Is it not? If you live in Phoenix, let us know how it is there. According to this, it's 12.1%, which is outrageous. Crazy. So as gas prices ease, U.S. now has to deal with a diesel crisis. So fortunately for most consumers, gas prices are down, although not really much to make too much of a difference. But the surge in diesel prices are up due to a sharp imbalance between refining capacity and global demand. So the way food gets all around the country are on big Mack trucks, and they use diesel. So if they're using diesel, then the price of shipping for everything is pretty much going to go up. And if the price goes up for shipping, it's going to be passed to consumers. So food and everything is going to get way up because the price has climbed up 43% higher for diesel compared to last year, compared to just 15% for regular gasoline. So yeah, we might see a big spike of food prices coming up, as well as heating prices for homes. Not a good thing. So prices are still going up. What is being done about it? Well, we're seeing some stimulus checks go out in different places, right? So here's the California automatic inflation relief payments between $200 and $1,050 hitting bank accounts today. So yeah, California checks are consistently going out. They have been since October 7th, and they're probably going to go out until January. But the second batch is on its way, or actually the tail end of it, up until November 14th, and then there's going to be another batch that's going to go out until January 15th. So those California stimulus checks are going out, and then payments up to $700 coming from state of Illinois. So yeah, these are going out in the state of Illinois. They are called, I think I think there might be another state. But yeah, $700 worth of checks going out in Illinois, but that's still not enough. We're seeing little trickles of stimulus here and there. If you look at the comments in my video, people are struggling, and there needs to be a bigger, wider stimulus check that can help out those who are struggling most, especially on fixed income, especially Social Security, veterans. There's a lot of people suffering right now, and I think the state stimulus checks maybe help a little bit, but there needs to be a lot more done. Florida Senator Rick Scott, who led the campaign armed to elect GOP senators, called the 2022 midterms a complete disappointment. I think Republicans were expecting a little more to be done and to have a bigger, redder wave, but it did not happen. When it comes to Rick Scott, though, the big question, he's pinned for the one who might be cutting Social Security. I don't know. But now he's blaming the Democrats. Who's to blame here? And what is going to be done for the American people? Take a look at what Senator Rick Scott has to say.
following the GOP's disappointing performance in the Senate, a handful of Republicans are now questioning whether Mitch McConnell should continue to lead the party in the upper chamber after not throwing his full support behind several candidates in pivotal races. Joining me right now is Florida Senator Rick Scott. He is the chairman of the National Republican Senatorial Committee. Senator, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here. I know that you have been circulating a letter along with Senator Ron Johnson pressing colleagues to sign on to a postponement of next week's elections in terms of leadership positions. But top senators are saying they're going to push forward, even though the ink is not even dry. What are your thoughts on the elections next week?
Well, first off, it doesn't make any sense. So I've been in the Senate for 4 years. I'm a business guy. And here's what I've watched. In business, you have a plan, you know your numbers, all right? I've been up here 4 years. What is our plan? It's like Stephen Miller talked about. What is our plan? What are we running on? What do we stand for? What are we hell-bent to get done? There's no plan to do that. The leadership in the Republican Senate says, no, you cannot have a plan. We're just going to run against how bad the Democrats are. And actually then they cave into the Democrats. And then now they want to rush through an election. We haven't even finished what's happened in Georgia. My focus is to make sure Herschel wins, and I hope everybody helps Herschel. You can go to teamherschel.com to help, teamherschel.com. But they want to rush through an election because, they don't want to do any assessment of what we've done wrong. Insanity is doing the exact same thing and thinking you're going to get a different result. We won't.
Well, we have tweets here that I want to show from Marco Rubio, from Ted Cruz, saying we should postpone the Senate leadership elections next week. A lot of people are wondering if Mitch McConnell is the guy to continue running it. Will you take the job if your colleagues push you to want to become minority leader? Do you want the job?
Well, a lot of people have called me to see if I'll run. Here's my focus is we still got to win Georgia. I'm not going to take anything off the table, but my job right now is to do everything I can help Herschel with. I'm going to be there today helping Herschel. So that's what my focus is. We shouldn't be having these elections, but we've got to go back and say to ourselves, when Republicans do what leadership has done this last year, and our candidates have to be frustrated with, the Republican leadership caving in on the debt ceiling, caving in on a gun bill, caving in on a fake infrastructure bill, and then we make it difficult for our candidates. We can't do that, and we got to do exactly what Stephen Miller said. Give people something we're hell-bent on getting done and then fight for it. That's what we do in Florida, by the way. I did when I was governor. That's what's been happening since I left. That's why we have big wins in Florida, because we stand for something.
Well, look, you did stand for something. You had an 11-point agenda that you released earlier this year. But what did some of your colleagues do? They turned that agenda against you and started sending out this news that you wanted to eliminate Social Security. Go through your agenda. What is most important to you, Senator Rick Scott?
So first off, I think we've got to save Social Security and save Medicare. And I explained, the Democrats have voted to to cut Medicare. But we've got to, here's what Mitch McConnell said. When I put out my plan, he said, we're not going to have a plan. We're just going to talk about how bad the Democrats are. We can't do that. We got to say, what are our ideas? And let's fight over those ideas. And let's act like a caucus and win on those ideas. People agree with this. They don't like inflation. They don't like an open border. They don't like $31 trillion worth of debt. In the last 16 years, the debt has gone from $9 to $31 trillion. We got to change. It's hurting our families. I grew up poor, Maria. I mean, my family was dealing with inflation when I was growing up. I watched that. It's hurting our families. We got to deal with these issues.
Yeah, but how do you deal with it? I mean, you and your colleagues talked a lot about inflation before the election. Voters were very clear that they felt inflation and the economy and crime were the top issues, and you still underperformed.
Because we didn't have a plan. I mean, because because leadership said, no, we're not going to have a plan. Look, I balanced the budget as governor of Florida. Was it easy? No. The state had not balanced its budget in 20 years before I got elected. We have to go through and start watching how we spend our money, stop teaming up with the Democrats, caving with them on spending bills. We got to deal with the debt ceiling. We got to say, we're not going to just keep raising the debt ceiling without structural reform. We can do these things, but we've got to start coming together as a caucus, not vote with the Democrats.
Well, that's what so many of your colleagues did. We've got a graphic right here to show our viewers Who exactly caved to the Democrats when it came to the CHIPS Act, when it came to the Infrastructure Act? You were in a position of strength, and then you've got all of these colleagues here voting for the CHIPS Act, caving to the Democrats. Did you all blow it by caving in and going with Democrats? Is that why you're now going to be in the minority?
Maria, why? So think about it. You're a candidate like Marco Rubio running, all right? And then the colleagues go and vote for things that he's campaigning against. How's that make his race easy? Or any of our challengers? How's it make their race easy?
What are your thoughts on what Senator Scott has to say? Who is going to cut Social Security? I guess he thought the Democrats will, but I don't think the Republicans. I don't think there's anything to worry about Social Security for now. But when it comes to Nancy Pelosi, so Pelosi says members urging her to consider House leadership again. So I'm really curious. Let me know down in the comments below. Should Nancy Pelosi be the Speaker of the House again, depending on the circumstances? If the Republicans take over the House, which it looks like it, should Kevin McCarthy be that? Well, she was asked that question. Bash asked Pelosi if McCarthy has what it takes to be House Speaker. Take a look at her response here.
You've talked about the need for a vibrant Republican Party.
Yes.
House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy, he's working the phones, probably as we speak, trying to firm up the votes he needs to become Speaker if Republicans do, in fact, take the House. As somebody who has been Speaker for a combined 8 years, do you think Kevin McCarthy has what it takes to be Speaker of the House?
Let's just get through the election, okay? They haven't won yet. They've been measuring for draperies. They've been putting forth an agenda. They haven't won it yet. Let's after the election is concluded, depending on who is in the majority, there'll be judgments made within their own party, in our own parties, as to how we go forward. It's not up to me to make any evaluation of what their possibilities are.
You are uniquely qualified to understand what it takes to be Speaker of the House.
Yeah, I do.
Does he have it?
But why would I make a judgment about something that may or may not ever happen? No, I don't think he has it, but that's up to his own people to make a decision as to how they want to be led or otherwise. What is important, though, is that this election has been a victory for the people, for the candidates who had the courage to run in the face of any predictions, for the grassroots people, VIPs, our volunteers in politics, knocking on millions of doors to get out the vote. Don't ever underestimate. Now, see, I'm a former party chair, so I'm own the ground. You have to own the ground. Mm-hmm. And owning the ground took us to the place that we are now, much closer to victory than anyone would have predicted. And of course, our president, President Biden, and President Obama being out there to make people aware of the importance of this election and that the prospects were that we could win, to offset some of the punditry that were wedded to the past when we know elections are about the future. But I don't really get into Republican caucus politics. That's up to them. But nonetheless, we still think we have a chance to win this. But nobody would have ever expected that we would be this close. Well, we expected it, but shall we say, conventional wisdom, however conventional it was, or how unwise it was. But let me just salute the Senate. This is such a cause for a celebration.
You can see you're kind of skirting around the issue a little bit about Kevin McCarthy. Simple question, but I guess that's what she decided to answer with. Anyways, that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Belle's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Belle. This is the tip of the day. I'm going to tell something what you should do. Don't let anybody tell you different. You are beautiful. You are full with excitement. You are great the way you are. Don't let anybody tell you any different. You are great the way you are. You are full with excitement, and you are great just the way you are in person. Bye. That's all I wanted to say for you. And be yourself. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your support. Hopefully you had a great weekend. A little more chilly here in Myrtle Beach, but you know, weather's dropping down. Anyways, hopefully all is good with you. If you want to check out any of my other videos, my other channels, click right up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.